All right, Friday Devo is going to jump right into it. John chapter 8. I'm still in that chapter, the Gospel of John. By the way, I'm reading from the Phillips translation. You probably can't buy one of these anymore. I got it from my father. He bought it in 1964. It's actually sort of like the Message today. That's where I'm having my Devos right now. So what's happening in John chapter 8, the Pharisees are trying to trap Jesus. They're trying to discredit him. They're trying, because people were following Jesus, and the religious people didn't like that. It threatened their way of life, all that kind of thing. And so they're having this debate, and with Jesus with the religious leaders. So he says to them at one point, he said, the difference between us, and that's an understatement, I think about it, Jesus and the rest of us. The difference between us, Jesus said to them, is that you come from below and I am from above. You belong to this world, but I do not. And think about that for a minute. Jesus actually came from heaven. He gets it. He's been there. He knows what it's like. And he had a very, very different perspective on life, values, and what's important in life, and even why to serve God, because he'd spent time with him in person. I'm beginning to travel internationally a bit more in the last couple of years, not for vacation, but for work. Been to Africa, El Salvador, Guatemala, Mexico City, other places, obviously around North America as well. And one of the things that happens when you do that is I've seen other parts of the world. My world's become smaller. My perspective is no longer just North America. Even in ministry, even when we teach, I'm thinking about how is this going to apply in other parts of the world, in the cultures that they're in. And my point is, you can't take that away from me. I have a different perspective than I had a few years ago. Well, Jesus had a very, very different perspective. You can't take that away from him. Even people with, you hear about the near life or near death experiences of people, and I don't know what you think about that, but one of the common themes is a lot of them don't want to come back. They've seen a glimpse of heaven, or they believe they've seen a glimpse of heaven. I think a lot of them have. They don't want to come back. Even the Apostle Paul, God had given the Apostle Paul some visions of heaven. And he said, I'd rather be there, but for your sake, I'm willing to stay. That perspective. And that's what Jesus had. And where that applies practically for us is this. They were calling him the names, and they were calling him crazy and things like that. He says, I'm not mad or crazy. I am honoring my Father, and you are trying to dishonor me. And I know some of you probably have people in your life that are trying to dishonor you, discredit you, complain about you, tear you down. And a lot of times people tear us down because they feel insecure or hurt, and they feel better about themselves if they can tear someone else down. Some of you do that. Sometimes I do that. It's not a good thing. Anyway, that's what they're trying to do. Jesus said, I'm honoring my Father. You're trying to dishonor me. But I'm not concerned about my own glory. In other words, I'm not worried about how you feel about me. I've been to heaven. That's my perspective. I'm not so worried about how I look here on earth, what my image is like here on earth, how much wealth I have here on earth, how talented I am, how popular I am. That's not my concern. And then Jesus says, there is one whose concern it is, talking about his Father, and he's the true judge. Amazing. Think about that. Jesus knew his Father intimately, and his Father had already promised that I will make all things right. I will balance the checkbook in the end, or the debit book, or just your bank account. Some of you youngins don't know what a checkbook actually is, but I get that. But Jesus knew his Father. That's what he was living for. And so it didn't bother him so much when people were trying to dishonor him. Doesn't mean he liked it. Just saying, but that's a different perspective. And that's one of the advantages of getting to know our Father in heaven intimately, which is another motivation for why we spend time in the Word, why we have these devos on Fridays. Trying to get to know our Father better, trying to get to know Jesus better, trying to get to know the Holy Spirit better. And one of the implications or effects of that, it won't matter quite so much what other people think about us, whether they try and dishonor us or not. Leave that. Leave your defense of your character in the hands of your Father and build a relationship with him. And I think your life will go a little better here on earth. And I hope that's a blessing. Let us know how it's going. And share these Devos on Fridays with all your friends if you think they're any good.